Hey, good morning, everyone. Tap your first alert forecast update as we settle into Thursday. A good morning to you. Thank you so much again for being here. Appreciate you. Let's see what's going on as we make a move into the rest of this week. I am WIS First Alert Meteorologist Tony Schiavaroli, and this is all going to be something as we basically roll the ball forward. We actually can say, okay, stop right now, because we're not going to see today as a first alert weather day. That doesn't mean we can't still see a little bit of active weather. It doesn't mean it's still not going to be hot, but we're getting slightly less hot than we've been seeing. We're trying to get things to actually take a little bit of a step back, where all these heat index values have been getting close to that 107, 108 mark. Now we're going to see it backtrack to, 101, 102 today. Still hot in its own regard, but it's a little bit more bearable than what we've been holding on to. So let's see why that's happening and how, of course, that actually works to change pace again towards your weekend, where you need to be weather aware again for a bunch of variety of reasons. So here we go. As we make this push onward, we are going to be getting into this. The first alert days, we got 3 more coming Friday to Sunday. We're going to talk about today again, so don't worry. And with all of this, it's basically because of what we see with more humidity. The temperatures are actually going to be a little bit cooler than the past few days, where yesterday we hit 101, 102, otherwise a lot of upper 90s, mid 90s between now and the weekend. But the big change of pace is going to be even more humidity. We have tropical moisture that's going to be mixing in with our atmosphere. And as that happens, it doesn't just make things really humid for us down here at the surface. Up in the skies, it's also going to give us the better capacity to see some storms popping off. So that's going to be a big factor here as we look on. Going into this afternoon, we could actually start to pick up some afternoon storm potential. It's just going to be a little bit tougher because we're still transitioning out of high pressure. I'm thinking we will see, around a 40-45% potential for storms, at least in terms of what the region should see, some of that coverage. There's going to be a good deal of you out there that don't see anything today, but it's definitely going to be a better chance than what we've had earlier this week, where it was just dry, it was just hot. It still got humid at times, but we didn't really see much pan out for storm productivity, for rain potential. And just from what I've seen around the region, a lot of vegetation desperate for that rain, a lot of dry leaves from what I've noticed with that heat. So with that going nowhere, we still have to focus on humidity that's going to mix in a better way, but also those storm chances that now add a little bit more of a hazard going into our afternoons, because it's been more so just, hey, as long as you're staying safe from the heat, you're good to go. Now it's going to be to the point of we can actually get a couple, downpours and storms to help save us a little bit from that heat, but then you got to worry about being safe from the storms now. But it is summer after all, and this is something that had to come back eventually. We're not going to stay away from storm chances forever, and we start that little journey today, our little bumps along the weather road, if you will. Going into this afternoon, we're going to be seeing that spotty activity closer to 2-3 p.m. is when we should start to see it actually begin. Then as we push through that, getting a little bit later into the afternoon, okay, we are going to be seeing more of this potential to try and settle in a little bit for the region. We're going to be getting a little bit more of that likely for the low country, and then Orangeburg County as well, perhaps clipping Clarendon County as well. But that's all going to be something that has the capacity to push up a bit further into the Midlands, especially from what I've been seeing, projections of this southerly breeze that's going to take over, helping to usher along a bit more of this moisture. So even though it's not showing up here, Lexington County, Richland County, easily, the rest of our viewing area could end up getting some of this isolated activity. So please be thinking about that late afternoon, getting into the early evening. And then as we start out Friday, we get back to another nice morning commute. Easy does it out there. Afternoon hours, very different. Between typical times, 3, 4, 5 p.m., we're going to be getting these storms to flare up once more. That's going to be a big factor, so make sure you guys are watching out for that. With all the heat that's going to be building in again, a lot more humidity. It's going to be very, very impressive with that heat index over 105 again. And then as we go into Saturday, guess what? Morning hours the same, calm. A little bit more clouds mixing in, but by the middle of the afternoon, after we could start to see a couple little showers starting to bubble up close to lunchtime, we get right back at it. 4 to 5 p.m., more of those isolated thunderstorms. It's just going to be a relentless sense with this weather pattern that does not want to change pace for us. It's just going to be something that we keep sitting with, we keep rolling forward with, and it's going to be just something I'm trying to instill in your minds. Just to, hey, make sure to have that in there. That it's going to be, of course, hot and humid. We know that already. We've been experiencing it. But now we're getting to the point of, okay, I can start to feel this out there outside. Thunderstorms are definitely going to be possible. And sometimes you can just feel it in the air. You know how it is sometimes. I'm telling you, you have that sense of, okay, I know that a thunderstorm could pop up. You just get that feel with the humidity, with the moisture outside, and that's going to be a bigger factor between Friday through Sunday. We are going to be seeing the bigger need to make sure we're staying cool, because a bit more of hazy sun can break through, a little bit more of winds out of the south can be aggressive. Today, just for reference, that heat index should be close to 102-ish. So still hot, but not going to be getting past 105, borderline 108, 109, and that's easily something we see into the weekend. Just it's going to be a really big influx of moisture into our atmosphere, and that's just going to mean really humid feels. So, it's all about protecting yourselves again, making sure you're taking the appropriate precautions to make sure you're comfortable from your wardrobe to what you're putting in your body, and just keeping those that are very old, very young, safe from these temperatures, and continue to protect our furry friends out there. Bring in those pets. It's going to be another crucial time frame where they'll be very uncomfortable. Not to mention storm activity. So there's plenty of reasons that you should be bringing your pets inside during this span if you do keep them outside whatsoever. That this is going to be a time we really need to protect our furry friends out there. There's no doubt about it. Going into Friday and Saturday, we will be getting back to some of those first alert weather days, not just because of the storm activity, of course, but also because of what we see mixing in with that humidity, with the heat. We've got 3 straight days between Friday and Sunday where the heat index should be around 108, honestly, on average. It's going to be a very hot stretch there because of the because of the big rise in humidity. Actual temperatures will be in the mid-90s, still very hot, but when you focus in a little bit more of some tropical air trying to make its way up here, it's going to be a bit more excessively hot. Truly, some sweltering days there for South Carolina. So as we go towards next week, more of that starts to move away. We could actually start to get some high pressure to move back in, so that's going to dry us out, and actually will keep us a little bit closer to that 90-degree mark for highs as we start out next week. But until we get to that point and you're still trying to get possible big plans together for this weekend, please take heed of these storm chances and all of those rising temperatures and humidity again. Going to be big factors if you need to duck inside or just keep it cool. Now, coming up on this live stream, what's new this morning will be up in just about 15 minutes. That's going to be a little bit closer to 9 a.m. as we have that every day during our Monday through Friday stretch. I'm actually done today. I'll be heading down to Charleston later this afternoon, so you won't have me tomorrow. You'll have meteorologist Chandler Jordan early tomorrow morning. But thank you again for being here, your first alert forecast update. I'm meteorologist Tony Chivaroli. Make it a great and safe rest of your week.